causes of the Civil War. The Missouri Compromise was the first major issue involving slavery. The Northerners and Southerners didn't want to upset the balance of the slave and free states, so they added Maine as a free state and Missouri as a slave state. The North had put tariffs on goods, and the South was extremely upset. They threatened secession and enforced nullification. Nat Turner's rebellion is when a slave man named Nat Turner just sort of had enough. He killed 60 men and women and children, all of whom were white. Some of them were slaves. America wanted to gain all the land. They gained the Mexican cession, Texas, Oregon, and Louisiana Territory. With all the new gained land, the problem of slavery came about. Northern congressmen tried to put the Wilmot Proviso in place, which would prevent slavery in the lands gained in the Mexican cession. The law, unfortunately, was not passed. The Free Soil Party were a group of people who didn't want slavery to spread west. The Compromise of 1850 had 4 parts. First, California entered as a free state, then Utah and New Mexico could vote on slavery, then the slave trade ended in D.C., and lastly, the fugitive slave law was strengthened and enforced, finally. Not fine, it wasn't good, but... Famous abolitionists during this period were very influential. These people included William Lloyd Garrison, the Grimke sisters, and Harriet Beecher Stowe. They all pushed Northerners toward joining the abolitionist movement. One of the most well-known women of the Civil War was Harriet Tubman. This gal. She helped 300 slaves escape from their owners. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed with popular sovereignty to determine slavery. Kansas could now vote, and this made Missouri upset, so Missouri snuck into Kansas to vote illegally, causing fights around Kansas. These events didn't kill many, but it was then called Bleeding Kansas. The formation of the Republican Party were the Whigs, who were dying out, and so they decided they'd make a new party. Dred Scott versus Sanford. Dred Scott was a slave who wanted his freedom. He took his slave owner to court, and the court ruled that because Dred Scott was a slave, he could not have his freedom, and he was useless. During the Lincoln and Douglas debates, Lincoln fought for stopping the spread of slavery. John Brown's raid was an act of revolt where he and his sons raided the armory to give to the slaves, so to rebel. All of his sons and him died in the fight. Abraham Lincoln gets elected, making the South even more upset. They're afraid that he's going to make slavery illegal. After Lincoln was elected president, South Carolina secedes, being the first state to secede. With South Carolina seceding and Southerners being upset about Lincoln being president, Civil War broke out. The first shot happened at Fort Sumter. And those are the causes of the Civil War.